Azzam. Built in Germany for the royal family of the United Arab Emirates, this vessel holds the title of the longest private yacht in the world, stretching over 180 meters from bow to stern. What makes it remarkable beyond its size is the speed. Despite carrying the weight and scale of a floating palace, Azzam moves faster than many yachts a fraction of its length. Inside, the design blends heavy security infrastructure with grand living spaces, private suites, and large areas built for entertainment. It became a turning point in how people thought about private yachts, shifting them from symbols of personal wealth into expressions of national engineering and prestige. Eclipse. Roman Abramovich, the Russian billionaire known for owning Chelsea Football Club, commissioned this vessel, and it quickly became one of the most talked-about yachts ever launched. The size alone would have been enough to draw attention, but it was the security features that made headlines. Reports described missile detection systems, armored glass, and technology designed to prevent cameras from capturing images anywhere near the yacht. Alongside all of that came swimming pools, multiple helicopter landing areas, private cinemas, and enough guest rooms to rival a boutique hotel. Eclipse marked an era when billionaire yachts began competing less on elegance and more on just how far their owners were willing to go. History supreme. The story surrounding this vessel is difficult to separate from the legend that grew around it. According to accounts connected to the build, parts of the yacht were finished using gold and platinum, while certain interior details reportedly incorporated dinosaur bone fragments and pieces of meteorite. Many have questioned how much of that is accurate, and the full truth remains unclear. But the yacht became widely known online precisely because people were drawn to the idea of it, real or exaggerated. It reflects something true about how extreme wealth gets perceived, where the line between fact and rumor barely matters because the story itself becomes the point. Dilbar. Commissioned by Uzbek billionaire Alisher Usmanov, this yacht did not chase length the way many others have. Instead, the focus went inward. The interior volume of Dilbar is among the largest ever measured on a private vessel, filled with expansive living areas designed for long periods at sea. One of its most cited features is the swimming pool, one of the biggest ever installed on any private yacht. Running a vessel this size requires a substantial permanent crew just to keep systems operational, and a second team comes into play whenever the yacht is actively at sea. Dilbar quietly redefined what scale could mean on the water, moving away from measurements taken outside and toward what a life aboard could actually feel like. Dubai. This yacht began as a commission for Prince Jeffrey Bolkiah of Brunei before eventually passing into the fleet associated with the Emirate of Dubai, which is itself an unusual journey for a vessel. What sets it apart visually is a design language that leans far from the clean modern lines most super yachts favor. Grand staircases, interior waterfalls, sweeping deck arrangements, and interiors drawn from Arab royal architectural tradition give it an appearance closer to a palace than a boat. For a significant period, Dubai ranked among the largest private yachts afloat, and even as newer vessels have surpassed it in size, its visual identity remains distinctive enough that it is rarely confused with anything else on the water. Blue Moon. Owned by billionaire businessman Joe Louis, this yacht sits at a different point on the spectrum from many of its peers. There are no dramatic security measures written about in the press, no record-breaking dimensions, and no materials sourced from prehistoric creatures. What it offers instead is comfort built around technology and privacy, with well-designed cabins, modern entertainment systems, and open deck spaces meant for genuine relaxation rather than spectacle. Within the super yacht community, it is respected for that restraint. Not every person of significant wealth is trying to make a statement, and Blue Moon reflects a quieter way of moving through the world. Sailing Yacht A. Andrei Melnichenko, a Russian billionaire with a reputation for commissioning projects that look like nothing else, had this vessel built with a design that drew immediate comparisons to spacecraft rather than traditional sailing boats. The carbon fiber masts rise to heights that are hard to appreciate from photographs alone, and the hull form breaks from any conventional yacht silhouette. Despite its unusual appearance, the engineering behind the sailing systems is genuine, allowing the yacht to move under wind power even at its considerable scale. Below deck, The interiors carry the same forward-facing design philosophy, with underwater observation spaces and rooms that match the exterior's unconventional identity. It demonstrated that there was still room to completely reimagine what a private sailing vessel could look like. Octopus. Paul Allen, who co-founded Microsoft alongside Bill Gates, built this yacht with a purpose that separated it from nearly every other vessel in this category. Where most private yachts are organized around comfort and display, Octopus was designed around exploration. It carried a submarine, deep-sea diving equipment, and tools used for legitimate scientific work in the ocean. Over the years, it participated in underwater discoveries, assisted with research projects, and was involved in search and rescue operations during emergencies at sea. That combination of capability and actual use in the world gave Octopus a reputation that had nothing to do with how much it cost or how long it measured. It became known for what it did rather than what it represented. Rising Sun. Larry Ellison, the founder of Oracle, originally had this yacht built, and it later became closely connected to entertainment executive David Geffen, which is when its presence in popular culture grew considerably. The vessel became a familiar setting for gatherings of actors, musicians, and other well-known figures, and photographs from aboard it circulated regularly in coverage of celebrity life. Beyond the social dimension, the yacht itself is substantial, with multiple decks, a full cinema, a basketball court, and suite-level accommodations throughout. Rising Sun crossed from the world of billionaire assets into something more like a recurring character in a broader cultural story, appearing at the edges of tabloid coverage and becoming recognizable to people who had no interest in yachts at all. Aquijo. Built for owners who wanted both the experience of sailing and the comfort of a modern superyacht, this vessel was designed with long ocean passages in mind rather than short trips between coastal destinations. The rig allows it to move across open water under sail, while the accommodations inside meet the standards expected at the highest level of private travel. It represents a shift in thinking among a certain group of yacht owners, where the journey itself carries as much value as the arrival. Aquijo is less visible in wider coverage than some of the larger or more dramatic vessels in this space, but within sailing and yachting circles, it is recognized as a serious piece of work built for people who genuinely want to go places. Katara. Owned by the royal family of Qatar, this yacht operates at a level that places it closer to state infrastructure than private leisure. Vessels commissioned by ruling families at this scale are sometimes used for purposes that go beyond vacation, including private meetings between senior figures who prefer settings outside of formal diplomatic environments. The design reflects the weight of that function, with interiors that carry the refinement expected of a royal commission and a presence on the water that reads as deliberate rather than casual. Katara is not a yacht that tends to appear in celebrity photographs or viral coverage. Its significance sits in a different register, connected to influence and access rather than spectacle. Black Pearl. This vessel arrived with a different set of priorities than most of what came before it. Where the dominant story in private yachts has long been about size, speed, and the materials used inside, Black Pearl was built around reducing fuel consumption and making use of wind energy through advanced sailing systems integrated into its design. The exterior reflects that orientation, with tall dark masts and a hull that looks nothing like the white cruiser shapes associated with conventional luxury. It attracted attention not only because it worked differently, but because it looked different, giving it a visual identity that matched its engineering philosophy. Black Pearl entered a conversation that had mostly been absent from this world, suggesting that even at this level of private wealth, the question of how a vessel operates was beginning to matter.